Hello, this is Brian Rowe. I'm here with my second deck tech on Super Friends Esper. This is an updated version of the deck tech that I posted earlier this week. After playing in my first Friday Night Magic with the deck, I've updated it so that it competes better against Delver, which was my only loss in my second Friday Night Magic with it. This improved deck went 3-0-1 with 3 wins and 1 draw. I'm very happy with this deck overall. I'm also trying a new format here with Tapped Out, so please give me some feedback and let me know how this works. A few things that are a little different than other Super Friends or Esper decks that you'll see. I'm still running a Drownyard in here. This Drownyard is incredible. Unlike blue-black decks, which use the Drownyard as a win condition to mill your opponent, I use it here as a card advantage engine to get more Think Twices into the deck. I'm still running a very similar land base to what I had before. The Evolving Wilds are performing really well, especially with the M12 lands. They help them come into play untapped on turn 2, and with the Innistrad lands here. The star performer in this deck is still by far Lingering Souls, an incredible fast beatdown card when combined with Sorin, and an incredible defensive card when you get it. Day of Judgment has done really well in here. I've upped the Curse of Death holds to 3. There are definitely some creature decks, including Delver in the environment, that this card just crushes. I'm very happy to have 3 in the deck at this point. I'm running 2 Forbidden Alchemies. They're a little slow, and when I mill myself, I would usually rather have the Think Twice in the graveyard than a Forbidden Alchemy, but I am happy with them overall. Running 3 Think Twices, 1 Doomblade, 1 Tragic Slip, or 2 Tragic Slips in here. This removal suite is a little bit light. I'm thinking about in the next version upping this to also include a Go for the Throat for a little more protection against larger creatures. The Super Friends Planeswalkers are doing great. Liliana, Sorin, and Gideon have all done really well. I'll probably be doing a video here in the next week or so on how I update this with Avacyn Restored, as I'm going to be adding more Planeswalkers to this. Sword of War and Peace and Batterskull have both been incredible. No one else that I've seen is really running the Sword of War and Peace with Lingering Souls, but the combination can gain a lot of life really early on, or put away an early aggressive game. Batterskull is just incredible against those control matchups. I'm running 2 Snapcasters, although these are 2 of the least impressive cards in the deck and may be being cut. Consecrated Sphinx I'm also strongly considering cutting with Avacyn. It's great in a control matchup, but I think we're going to see a lot more creature decks with Caverns of Souls coming out. The other thing that I've played with a little bit here is the sideboard. Celestial Purge is wonderful. It helps a lot versus zombies. I'm not sure I'm going to keep it, though, after Terminus comes out, which I'll talk about later. Revoke Existence. I really wished that I had this main deck in several games. And I'm thinking about at least putting 1 in main deck if I end up keeping the Snapcasters. Another Day of Judgment. For heavy creature decks, Ratchet Bomb is incredible, and this is one of those cards that may end up moving into the main deck. Phantasmal Images have also been performing extremely well. They're a great way to remove a legend, especially Geist, which are hexproof because the copying ability does not target them, and you're able to legend rule them out. It's also really nice after your opponent puts out a Titan to be able to copy that Titan for 2, and then if you've got removal, remove their copy. Surgical Extraction has been doing really well for me. I'm very happy with it, especially happy with it with regards to Snapcasters. I can often take out the threats from a deck very quickly. Karn is in here for control matchups, and I think control is going to be moving down with Cavern of Souls and counterspells becoming less useful. I may be removing this over time. Sword of Feast and Famine, which you may have noticed was main deck for me a few weeks ago, is now in the sideboard. Once again, this is great against control, but against the aggro decks, I'd much rather have the Sword of War and Peace. I also put 2 Despises in here. The Despise has worked extremely well. This is beautiful versus Delver. It's also great versus Titan decks. When I side this in, I'm usually extremely happy to have it. If the game has went too long and I pull this late game, usually I'm already winning the games at that point. So if I get it early, I'm happy, and if I live long enough that I pull this late game, it's usually not a problem. I'm definitely going to be keeping these in over the long term. The last thing that I would like to point out with regards to this deck is that it's not just a control deck. It has a significant aspect of heavy beatdown with the right draws. I had at least 2 games out of my last 6 tournament games that were won entirely with Lingering Souls and Sorin, where Sorin was used for the -2 ability to move in and +1/+0 the Lingering Souls and go for a quick win. One of those games was against a heavy control deck that wasn't able to draw Black Sun Zenith. I'm very happy with Sorin. I did not originally think that I would be, but he has been wonderful in this deck. Thank you so much. I hope this gives you some ideas for your own Super Friends or Esper decks, or some ideas in playing against it. I will be updating with another video here in a week with Avacyn Restored ideas. Thanks.